WNT signaling occurs in virtually every organ system and has an essential role in governing many biological processes, including embryonic development, tissue homeostasis, and development of stem cells. But the improper regulation of WNT signaling pathways is associated with various kinds of cancer, as well as inflammation and fibrosis. Pathways. All WNT pathways are activated by WNT signaling proteins that bind to receptors on the outside of the cells. There are two kinds of WNT signaling pathways. The first, called the canonical pathway, influences the expression of gene targets in the nucleus. In this way, the canonical WNT pathway often plays a role in cell survival, proliferation, and differentiation. The non-canonical WNT pathways lead either to the activation of certain proteins, rock or junk, or the release of intracellular calcium. These pathways are involved in determining cell polarity and cell migration during development. This special issue of laboratory investigation focuses on the role of WNT signaling in fibrosis, inflammation, and cancer, reviewing our current understanding and highlighting some of the latest research in the field. Kidneys. In the kidneys, WNT signaling is essential for nephron formation during development, but it may also play a role in determining whether kidney injury is followed by repair or leads to disease. In a review inside this issue, Joe and others look at the evidence that the canonical WNT pathway promotes repair and recovery in the kidneys if it is activated in a short time, but that sustained activation of the same signaling is detrimental, leading to the onset and progression of chronic kidney disease. A better understanding of these mechanisms may offer important opportunities for targeted therapies that promote kidney repair and prevent progression to chronic disease. Brain. In the brain, dysregulation of WNT signaling is associated with glioblastoma, the most malignant primary brain cancer. In another review, Lee and others present evidence that aberrant WNT pathway activation is found in glioblastoma. They discuss the role that WNT signaling has in the maintenance of glioblastoma stem cells, as well as tumor invasion and metastasis to distal organs. WNT signaling may also promote resistance to radio and chemotherapy. The authors then look at the ways WNT signaling inhibitors could be used for anti-glioblastoma therapies. Lungs and airways. A review by Reuter and others looks at WNT pathways in the lungs, where they may be important for conditions such as asthma and chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, or COPD. There is evidence that WNT ligands can suppress the airway inflammation response in asthma, as well as prevent the excessive formation of mucus-producing goblet cells. But there is also evidence that WNT signaling promotes the formation of smooth muscle cells in the airways, which restricts airflow and may be associated with the development of emphysema. Here again, WNT pathways could be an interesting target for pharmacological interventions. Other research papers in this issue look at the role of WNT signaling in pulmonary fibrosis, Anderson, Scholand, and others, as well as its possible role in mediating the inflammatory effect of cigarette smoke, Guo and others. Bones and cartilage. WNT signaling is also known to play an important role in the regulation of cartilage and skeletal development. In another review, Usami and others look at the role of canonical WNT signaling in bone development, from the initial step of cartilage formation to the last process of endochondral ossification. They also discuss the evidence that canonical WNT signaling is involved in the pathogenesis of osteoarthritis, where it may enhance articular cartilage destruction and possibly promote subchondral bone remodeling. To read these papers and others on Wnt pathways, including their role in the differentiation of mesenchymal stem cells in hepatocellular carcinoma, in ovarian cancer, and in cardiomyopathy, visit www.nature.com/labinvest.